Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hawks Nest. My name is Genesis Police, and I'm your sideline reporter for today. Right here tonight, this afternoon, we have the Fleming Knights and the Humber Hawks back at it again. And our boys, the Humber Hawks, have won last time against them. Let's see and hope that they could do it again. But I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to hand it right over to Matt and Andrew.
Genesis, thank you very much for that. And you mentioned it all time in the historical matchup between these two teams. 1-1. Humber winning the most recent matchup. Hoping we do the same thing here today. True, we should have a great OCAA cross-conference matchup.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Obviously, Humber hosting the CCAA National Championships a little bit down the road, March 18th through 11th. They get that automatic seed, but you don't want to just make it in as that automatic seed. You want to earn your way there. This is the first step there to make it to that final step, the OCAA Provincial Tournament, of course.
In just a moment, we'll have the national anthem, the player introductions coming up as well, and we had a great intro from Genesis Calise pregame. We'll also touch base with Genesis a bit later, our sideline reporter deeper into the broadcast. But for now, we're getting close to game time. A crossover matchup, East versus West. The Humber Hawks look to continue their provincial run before, like you mentioned, Andrew, hosting the national tournament March 8th to the 11th right here at the Hawks Nest. Now we'll hand it over to Dwayne Bowles for the player introductions right after the national anthem.
Hi there and welcome to the Nest here at the Humber Athletic Center for this quarterfinal crossover matchup between the Fleming Knights and your Humber Hawks. At this time, I'm going to ask you if you could please stand if you're able, remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem. And now for the starting lineups, first for the visiting Fleming Knights. A 6'2" outside hitter, Brampton, Ontario, number 6, Samuel Bernalage. A 6'2" middle at Aurora, number 7, Scott Morris. A 6'1" outside hitter at a Paisley, number 8, Dion Pearson Laviolette. A 6'1" middle out of Pembroke, number 12, Tyler Hartwig. A 6'5" outside hitter out of Brantford, number 13, Ben Perot. A 6-foot center out of Mississauga, Ontario, number 15, Stephen Katamuro. The starting libero out of Ottawa, Ontario, number 2, Sam Deschens. The head coach for the Fleming Knights is Jordan Ross. And now, the starting lineup for your Humber Hawks, as put together by head coach Wayne Wilkins. A 6'8" middle out of Sudbury, Ontario, number 3, Maximum Crowder. A 6'3" outside hitter out of Scarborough, Ontario, number 4, Jaden Milne. A 6'10" middle out of Rexdale, Ontario, number 10, Jascar Kelsey. A 6'6" center out of Oakville, Ontario, number 13, Jake Gomes. A 6'3" outside hitter out of Ottawa, Ontario, number 16, Tevin Blackmore. A 6'8" middle out of Belleville, Ontario, number 17, Michael McAlpine. Your starting libero out of Scarborough, Ontario, number 15, Alex Segui.
And there we have it, our player introductions. The 9-9 Fleming Knights taking on the 13-5 Humber Hawks. Humber winners of their last 4 heading into this crossover matchup. And the Knights are coming into this game off a loss. And their last 10 games of the regular season, the Knights were 6-4. And for the Hawks, those last 10 games, pretty good, 9-1 record.
Yeah, obviously a little bit of a shaky first half of the season, not as many wins as head coach Wayne Wilkins would have liked. But I mean, hey, you're coming down the stretch with just 1 loss in your last 10 games. You gotta like that. This team really coming together down the stretch. What better year than when you're hosting nationals, right?
And looking forward to that. Yes, the big national tournament. And it's almost time to get this game going as we're still at the provincial stage. Now, later in this month, it'll be Fanshawe hosting the OCAA Men's Volleyball Championship. So these teams looking to motor through to that destination. Now, the winner of this game, Andrew, will play the winner of Niagara-Algonquin. So the Wolves and the Knights playing the other Knights, Niagara Knights, not to be confused with the Fleming Knights.
Too many Knights.
One of these nights gonna get you. Let's get it on. It'll be the Fleming squad starting with the serve. And first up with the ball in hand is Stephen Katamuro, 4th-year player by way of Mississauga. And the serve in play. Blackmore tips it up. Michael McAlpine, the outstanding rookie for Humber. First big hit of the game. Turned well. Gomes setting up for Blackmore now, and Humber will be charged with the double touch. The official didn't think that the Knights got the block on it. Hawks are a bit confused, but...
And Jake Gomes just trying to settle his team down, say, guys, it's okay, an early mistake, but we can move past this.
And that time at the net, Hawks looking to even things up here. Jaskar and Kelsey, the big fella, standing 6'10", wearing number 10 for Humber. Set up here, Gomes over to Jaden Milne, and that's going to find the corner, and that will give Humber their first point of the game.
Milne doing a great job finding the corner there. Picture perfect shot. And they'll set up Jake Gomes, the service ace specialist for the squad at the service line.
Jake Gomes so good from the service line. There's an absolute howitzer and setting it right up. He didn't get the service ace, but he set up Jaskar and Kelsey to clean it up there.
Jaskar and Kelsey using all 6'10" of that frame to get on top of that one. Didn't even have to jump.
43 service aces for Jake Gomes in the regular season. Just really one of the most lethal weapons serving in the OCAA. That time puts a little too much mustard on it. Sails out of bounds, and we're tied up 2-2.
Yeah, every once in a while when you go for that corner, you're going to miss. So live by the sword, die by the sword, I suppose.
Ben Perot. Kept up by Blackmore, and just a miscommunication at the net. Scott Morris was jumping up for it, but out of his reach, and Humber will benefit from the miscue.
Yeah, he said that. Scott Morris just mistiming that one, getting up a little too early. Point Humber.
Fleming, coached by Jordan Ross at the helm. And for the Humber Hawks, 27th year head coach Wayne Wilkins.
27 years, what a run.
Had a chat with Coach Wayne and his assistant Hank Ma pre-game, and his assistant coach Hank was suggesting I make some hair jokes at Wayne's expense, and that's something I'm not willing to do. I think it'll take a braver broadcaster than me to try to take a knock at Coach Wayne.
You can take a knock at a lot of things a man has, but not that.
Taven Blackmore, second-year player, with a nice serve. Wow. And the Knights were counting, trying to get in the head of Blackmore. The bench making some noise, but you think Taven was maybe a little angry as that thing had some extra zip on it.
Yeah, bounced up, hit one of the top of the speakers here, and something came down. Don't know if that was some confetti from last year's Nationals or just a large dust bunny, but
I think it might have been a very large dust bunny, but yeah. I like the confetti.
Yeah. It's happened before. It happened before to us here. Perhaps that champagne just getting it stuck a little bit up there, you know, just needs a little extra motivation to come down.
Blackmore with another outstanding serve. These things have some real heat on them. And that will find the line, so a good hit by the Knights. And looked like Blackmore might have been getting going on a run from the service line, but shut down by the Knights.
Yeah, that shot looked like it was going long, but just managed to catch that back line. Linesman there had the best view.
2-point lead for Humber. Make that 3 points. Off the service error. Checking back into the game is the Fleming libero, Sam Deschen.
A couple tough breaks here early on for Scott Morris.
Set up here at the net. The blocking effort of Crowder and Milne is defeated. It's an excellent looking hit. Stepping into the play was Dion Pearson-Laviolette, the lone fifth-year player on this Fleming squad. He's also now serving for the Knights. He's just waiting because at the other end of the court, the Hawks are cleaning up a bit of sweat on the hardwood.
Uh-oh.
The towel has been put away, and we're ready to get back to the action. Hawks fans making lots of noise here. Serve well placed. And Crowder gets set up by Gomes, and Maximum Crowder with his first big play of the game.
Get ready for the puns, because Maximum Crowder's in this game. You got maximum power behind that one.
Michael McAlpine, outstanding young fella for Humber with the serve. That's a good blast there, and I'll tell you what, this Fleming cheering section travels well. Some big noise in the gym from this Fleming section.
Yeah, plenty of away fans. Haven't seen this since Thursday when we had the Humber Sheridan game. But
big rivalry game here just a few days ago. That was a packed gym, over 2,000 people in attendance. Fun stuff. And here the crossover game on a Saturday afternoon. The Hawks looking to punch their way through to some provincial playoff action. That's Fanshawe. 2-point lead for the Humber Hawks. McAlpine over to Gomes, and Blackmore steps in. He caught the net, still able to get it over. Nice dig there, and unable to get it over. Gomes and McAlpine mixed up.
Gomes touches his chest to say, my bad there. A little bit of a miscommunication there between teammates.
So the Knights now within 1 point of tying things up here, kind of roaring back in the early goings of set number 1. Serving now is Sahil Bardawaj. And another thing to cheer about for the Fleming fans.
One too many touches there for the Hawks.
Lucky number 7s is our score. Gomes teeing up Crowder, handled by Fleming. Soft touch there, catching Crowder off guard, and that'll hit the hardwood, and quite a run here from Fleming.
Yeah, and the Fleming faithful are loving this one here, taking their lead here this afternoon. We're gonna try and continue this run.
The Fleming faithful, I like that alliteration.
Oh, you know me, I'm an alliterative guy. Couldn't find another A word to go with alliterative.
Illiterative is
alliterative. Slip of the tongue, excuse me.
You got it. I'm just saying it's a fine line between two vastly different words.
That's why I can like you, Matt. You got my back.
Jaden Milne. Powerful serve handled by Fleming. And the block beating Crowder and Gomes, and this run continues.
And I mean, the way this is going, like Fleming's only up by 1 point, but it feels like, you know, they're gaining some momentum here slowly. They're just kind of trading points. Not the game Humber wants to play. They're going to want to get on a run here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, as the set has gone on, Humber just not really able to uncork. It's a very creative play from Gomes there, but Humber not able to uncork their offensive weapons. There's Michael McAlpine. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. The Hawks do very well when number 17 is dialed in.
Yeah, great play there by the first-year player. Just found a little bit of open space there on the floor, tying this game right back up.
And another play up front going to Fleming. That time Ben Perot flexing the muscles there as he beats Gomes up front. And now it's the Knights with the lead. Steven Catamuro sends it in deep. Milne over to Blackmore, uncorks a bit too much. And that will send it out of bounds, so make it a 2-point lead for the visiting team.
Instead of going for accuracy there, he went for power, and unfortunately he missed his target.
That time, Blackmore able to uncork on it. Knights scrambling a little bit, but keeping it alive. Set up to Jaden Milne. That was a make no mistake about it type of shot. And that will bring up Jake Gomes for the serve for Humber. Let's see if number 13 can do what he does best and get some points for the Hawks off his serves.
Yeah, last time made a service error on his second attempt. He's gonna want his run at the line to last a little longer, and wow, misses there on the first try.
I like the look of that one. It just was ultimately sailing a bit too long, but it had a good trajectory. Gomes still maybe finding his rhythm here in this game with his serves. And hands the ball back to Ben Perot. Hawks fans, led by Jess McPherson, are making lots of noise on the sideline.
Not showing off the guns today, though.
Yes, McPherson, a women's softball player, was had the sort of costume on for the big rivalry matchup. The cut-off sleeves, face paint, the Pit Vipers shades. Today, much more kind of typical student-athlete outfit. Just
much more subdued.
The Humber zip-up hoodie. But usually a focal point of that cheering section for the Hawks. Jess McPherson, now it's Blackmore back at the serve line and teeing it up. The point goes to Humber.
Yeah, that one just missing completely.
Tabin, another serve coming up for the young fella. Good shot, but a few of these serves, Andrew, in set number one have just been going a bit long.
Yeah, and these are just unforced errors, and they're not careful. You can kind of let it snowball and let it work against you as the game goes on. So this is something Humber's going to want to tighten up quickly here as this set moves on.
Blackmore plays it over to Michael McAlpine, and that is the bread and butter of Michael McAlpine, the tall player for the Humber Hawks. He stands at a 6'8" height and using all of it there to come straight down on him.
Hasn't had a ton of touches in this first set, but whenever he's touched the ball, he's usually done something well.
And that sails out of bounds. Point for the Humber Hawks, who have now crawled back into the lead, and we're about halfway through this first set, and it's been pretty up and down, Andrew.
Yeah, real back and forth one. No team really grabbing the momentum in this one. No big run yet as of yet.
Net violation charged against the Humber Hawks, and not something we typically see from Humber. Very disciplined squad on home court, but that time forfeiting the point. We're back tied up at 14. Dion Pearson-Laviolette serve cruising out of bounds.
Once again, these teams just continue to exchange points.
Yeah,
allows both these coaches to hang on to those timeouts.
Yeah, I mean, just from the service game alone, things have not been very clean there. It's been a lot of errors on the serves. Let's see if Michael McAlpine's dialed in. In play for the Hawks. McAlpine over to Gomes, who gives a soft touch by Milne. A diving play keeps it alive. It's Pearson-Laviolette. Humber with a chance now. That was all Jaden Milne stepping in. He was set up by Gomes, and that was a nice authoritative point for the Hawks.
And a play there by Pearson-Laviolette to try and dive that one by the bench. Try and keep it alive, just came up short though. But an acrobatic move nonetheless.
McAlpine's serve, almost mishandled there, but able to get it over. That was straight down, Michael McAlpine. And you know, Andrew, I don't think it's a coincidence that as Humber has been setting up McAlpine, this set has started to tilt in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those first-year players here on this squad. Immediately got time out of the gate as a starter. And, you know, maybe they haven't been able to scout him as much, this Fleming squad. But whenever he's touched the ball, he's really made stuff happen. You got to like that if you're a Hawks fan. And set up by none other than Jake Gobes, no surprise.
And that last point from McAlpine led to a timeout. McAlpine sits with 3 kills and 2 digs here today. And head coach Jordan Ross of the Knights wanting to slow things down here. And there's a look at Humber's bench.
Brittany English from the women's basketball team in attendance, sitting beside Frank Mitchell, last year's OCAA Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and there's a little one-on-one conversation happening between Coach Ross and Tyler Hartwick. And back to Humber. The timeout has expired. The team's getting ready to take the court. Andrew, this is that crossover matchup for Humber. They felt pretty good about their season, right? The record is certainly in the winning territory, 13-5, and taking on a 9-9 Fleming team. But I'll tell you what, this has been much more evenly matched here today than might have looked on paper.
Yeah, I mean, even you look at the sets won, sets against for either side. Humber basically doubling up their opponents when it comes to sets won. Fleming just barely on top 500. Wow, that one going off the face of McAlpine.
Now the disrespect is out of the timeout. That's exactly what you want if you're a Fleming fanatic, is to see that tilted momentum coming out of the timeout. And that was a huge play there. Another big serve coming off the hands of Sahil Bardawaj.
But this is obviously a very determined Fleming squad. They didn't just come in here and say, oh, you know, we're happy to be here for this crossover match. They came here to win. That's obvious early on.
And that was a tough one to call. The Hawks say that.
Jake Gomes having a word with the umpire.
So the official umpire at the net is calling it in favor of the Knights, but the official with the flag in Humber's corner did say that touchdown. Ultimately, we're going to stick with the original call. Hawks aren't going to like it.
I think Gomes might have another word here with, oh no, we're going to play on.
Bardawaj, second serve. Handled by Blackmore. Gomes tried to flip it down. It was almost like one of those dunks in basketball where you get denied by the rim as the Fleming fans block our camera with their sign.
Just a little over-eager on that one.
It's unfortunate. Now a well-handled serve there, digging it out. Milne's shot is quickly rebutted, and now the Knights have taken the lead as we get into the home stretch of set number one, and that'll prompt Wayne Wilkins to call his first timeout.
Yeah, no surprise there that Wayne Wilkins uses his timeout there. Just a bad sequence of events though there, these last few plays for the Hawks. Really good, just got to tighten it up, kind of settle these guys down before this set gets out of hand. It's a tight one right now, but obviously this one's still very winnable, and it wouldn't be disastrous to lose the first set, but it'd obviously be very bad, and it's a situation that Wayne Wilkins definitely does not want to be in, so no surprise.
I got reservations for sushi at 610, partner. We need this. They can't have a 5-set barn burner. I mean, forget about it. But I'll tell you what, it looks like I might have to reschedule my dinner plans because this is close matchup here, and you know, give full credit to the Knights. They've come out gangbusters. I mean, they are really playing with lots of energy and some big plays, some really denying some of Humber's strengths, which is up front, right? We've seen Humber really dominate that play by the net. Not so far on this Saturday afternoon. Fleming has been really playing pretty confidently.
Yeah, they're certainly putting on a show for us today, putting their best foot forward here this afternoon, but don't forget, Humber's got that little thing in their back pocket called depth, so they can afford to get guys in and out, see who's got the hot hand. We'll see if Fleming's got that same advantage too. We'll see how many guys they really throw in that rotation here this afternoon.
Yeah, just kind of an unfamiliar opponent, right? Only 2 games between these 2 squads in OCAA history. And of course, the team's splitting those matchups. So who is going to get the edge in the historical matchup? We'll find out today. And good job by the Humber Hawks out of that timeout, tying the game back at 11. Pardon me, 18.
And one of these games we spoke of, 1998, so a few of these players probably weren't even born yet.
Up at the net, couple Hawks in blocking position. Gomes sets up McAlpine, and again, the rookie, number 17. He's McFeeling himself as he finds the hardwood on that blast.
And definitely the effort that Wayne Wilkins wanted coming out of that timeout. Got that momentum going. They got coming in fired up. Let's see if they can continue this hot stretch.
Sent over the net, Jaden Milne to Gomes. And Crowder didn't get all he wanted to on it, but sometimes that's all it takes is Crowder will be awarded the kill.
Yeah, sometimes those plays that break down end up working to your advantage because the other team, they're just not going to be set up for, you know, that play going wrong. So obviously you take those breaks when they come to you.
Timeout called by Fleming as things have really started to gear up for the Humber Hawks. A bit of momentum building. Calling the timeout to try to shut things down.
Yeah, obviously, like I said before, for Humber, it's still a winnable set. Obviously, the same applies for Fleming here. Down by 2, obviously, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. Not that much room for error, but Fleming, we've seen them have some hot stretches here in the past, so if they get another one going here, they'll be right back in the driver's seat. But obviously, nothing comes easy for opponents in the Hawks' nest.
Yeah, Fleming, like we said, the underdog on paper, but not playing like it right now. But Humber is in a good position here. They're up to 20-18 is our score. But Andrew, the big question is, how does momentum shift coming out of this timeout? And we've seen those timeouts so far this game really work for the teams that have called them. And being able to bounce back and change the tide. Can Humber keep the energy going? Jaden Milne will be serving. Big point coming up.
Milne very successful at the service line.
And an absolute rocket that time. A couple Hawks in the mix. Free ball. Gomes over to Tatum Blackmore. Saved. Another free ball opportunity set up for Crowder. Doesn't get much on it once again. Out of bounds. Huge for the Hawks. Now establishing a three-point lead and not allowing any big shift in momentum out of that timeout.
You know, basically for Fleming, if they want to come back, they essentially have to double up Humber in this next little stretch. So Humber really in the driver's seat here. They control their own future in this first set.
Jaden Milne has been rock solid with the serves, and that time, coaching staff for Fleming trying to evacuate, but just not able to corral the ball that was way out of bounds.
Yeah, just couldn't get out of the way in time.
And what a heartbreaker for Fleming as they're seeing this first set where they had so much positive energy. Really, Humber is roaring back, and the service ace to put an exclamation mark on Jaden Milne's run at serves here.
An incredible run at the service line for Jaden Milne. 2 more points to close out this first set.
I think Humber likes their chance of seeing number 4 just put the finishing touches on this set. His serves have been electric.
Wow.
All game long. Another one there. McAlpine over to Gomes, and Blackmore is blocked, but it lands out of play. Humber 1 point away from capturing set number 1.
We talked about on Thursday the stat I had made up on the spot, WPMs, wows per minute.
Wows per minute.
The team with a lot of WPMs in the last few minutes.
Yes, the intangibles. The most exciting team in the OCAA. You won't find it on the official stat book, but we're trying to think of metrics to measure excitement, and wows per minute is the best we could come up with. Blackmore is blocked. Nice standoff at the net there between the Knights and Hawks. Nice 6-point lead for Humber. Can they just put things away now? Jake Gomes almost had it with the how do you do, a little element of trickery there. And ultimately, the Hawks had the pressure on the Knights. Set number 1 goes to the home team. 25-18 is the final.
And a fantastic rally to end off that first set. Fleming now wanting to let that one go, really dug in their heels, made things difficult for the Hawks. And it took a pretty much perfect play to end that one off, and Humber comes up on top, 25-18. You gotta love it.
And we now switch sides. You know, Andrew, we were talking about how come in volleyball they switch sides. I mean, the benches, why can't they stay put? But it would be kind of weird having to yell across the, it would just make them switch. Grab all your personal belongings and head over to the other side of the gym. I think it makes the most sense.
Oh, it definitely makes sense. Just like a strange little quirk when you come from, you know, a background used to
Every
do
other
basketball,
sport ever,
hockey, yeah. Every other sport, basically, how you said it. I'm trying to think about tennis now. Do they switch? Like which?
I think I can, if I can picture in my head, I think I can see tennis players kind of switching sides. Also, I
think they do.
Old professor of mine here at Humber was saying that how come tennis, these athletes, they walk out, they're carrying like all kinds of equipment. Like, can they not have somebody, these
like
are elite athletes, and yet they're looking like, you know, they're moving condos or something every time they play a match. Just a thought.
Yeah, like golfers have caddies. Why can't the tennis players, right?
Shout out to Michael Spencer. I thought it was a good observation and a funny tweet.
Michael Spencer is one of my props too.
The beloved professor here at Humber College.
Absolutely.
And that's where we are, the Humber College North Campus gym for this one. The Hawks Nest is home to this crossover matchup. The second team in the West, Humber Hawks, taking on a Fleming team that sits in 7th.
And that first set, kind of the same complexion of this Hawks season, if you think of it. Kind of a back and forth first half to that, but really just finishing off strong in that second half, getting things going. Hopefully, let's see if they can carry that momentum into the second set.
You know, we talked about how these teams finished their regular season. For the Hawks, they finished red hot. Their last 10 games of the season, 9-1 record. Now, for the Fleming Knights, their last 10 games of the season was a winning record, but 6-4 in their last 10 games. So for Humber, you know, all that heat, all that momentum doesn't mean much if you choose now to cool off. So I think Humber was maybe in a bit of danger there of kind of on their heels in set number 1 against the underdog Fleming Knights, but really establishing themselves, roaring back, capturing set number 1 for the home team.
And a good thing too, like I said before, is hosting nationals. You get that automatic seed, but you don't want to make it in as just that automatic. You want to earn your way there no matter what, kind of show the others what you're made of. Especially when you're going up against teams from other provinces. All they see is your stats, right? There's not going to be too much video. I know some of these schools like to pull their video of some of the games kind of lead up into the nationals.
Gamesmanship.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're almost ready for set 2. And Andrew, what stood out to you in the Humber comeback win there in set number 1? We really saw Michael McAlpine find his range, and that made a big difference.
McAlpine was definitely a big part of that. Every time he touched the ball, he was electric, seemed to really make things happen. And Jaden Mill with a fantastic run, the service line at the end, absolutely fantastic. Him and Gomes, love the way they serve. They kind of have that front spin going where the ball kind of drops right at the end. Fantastic to watch. A lot of WPMs there.
Wows per minute, the only stat that matters in OCAA volleyball.
Some of the staff here might have a thing or 10 to say about that, but we'll run with it.
There's a statistician somewhere who's just broke his pencil. He's so bad at us talking about wows per minute. Jake Gomes,
how do you quantify that?
Jake Gomes still trying to find his range at the service line as he gets the error, but Tevin Blackmore will get things back on the right side here as Humber ties things up at 1.
Timely hit there by Blackmore to get Humber on the board for set number 2. Blackmore, another tremendous server.
He was formerly with the University of Toronto Varsity Blues in the university side of things last year. Made a big impact for Humber. Awkward play there at the net, and Humber will get their second point of the set.
Scott Morris having a little bit of a rough day here. A couple costly errors in that first set. Another one here early in the second. Not what his team needs, especially considering how close that first set was. It looks like it could be another close one here in the second.
Second-year player Blackmore with a very good-looking serve that time. But how about the blast from the Knights? Dion Pearson-Laviolette, the double Dion up front. And there's that sign from the Knights blocking our camera again. The Knights fans, the Fleming faithful, are blocking our camera, Andrew.
That's not good. It's like being stuck behind the guy with the sign at a baseball game or something.
Yeah, like a WrestleMania, you know?
The guy behind me can't see.
Yeah. John 3:16, I think is what the sign says. And now Blackmore able to save it. He's going to step into that one and just hits it long, but that thing, well, I'll tell you what, we've seen Blackmore start in only a few games for Humber this season, but in his 7 starts, we've just continued to see and uncover how much power number 16 has for Humber.
Yeah, no kidding. And like you said, a sparingly used piece on this team, but Just kind of shows how much depth is there behind these starters that we're used to seeing.
Gomes over to Milne, blocked well up front. That was Pearson Laviolette. But not be denied that time. Michael McAlpine continues his dominance up front. It's something we've seen a lot of as the season has progressed. Just more and more Michael McAlpine is what the doctor's been ordering.
Yeah, another look at that kill. Just such power there getting up. Using all 6'10", and when you got that jump on there on top of that, got a lot on that.
He's 6'8", partner. I think the only member of Humber that's 6'10" is number 10, Kelsey. And how about Jake Gomes? Kind of showing he's got a little bit of everything in his volleyball game. Serve, sets, and that time, the big blast. Jake Gomes. Wow's WPM's off the charts right now. It's redlining the WPM meter. And a service ace from McAlpine. So a couple players for Humbers getting it done on different ends of the court.
That one just catching the corner there, and the libero, Sam Deschenes, not happy with that one. Kind of turned to the bench as if to say he couldn't believe it.
Another serve for McAlpine is in play, and a well-executed kill up front. That was kind of just like the hand of God by the Knights, just palming that thing right down. Let's take another look.
And another look at the hand of God, as you called it. Then this one, an actual legal play as opposed to the one in the '86 World Cup by the legend Diego Maradona.
You talked about Moses last game, so I figured I had to call up the famous soccer play. And 6-5 is the score. Michael McAlpine's run of serves is now over. Dion. Pearson Laviolette gets it in play. And Crowder finally able to find his range. We saw him just struggling to really make the contact, but that was a very good looking shot. Let's take another look.
Yeah, Maximum Crowder, another big boy, 6'8", much like McAlpine, and when he connects on it, boy, does he connect.
It was a hit so nice, we had to watch it twice. Now let's...
I like it.
Beautiful there. Jaden Milne stepping into that ball. Couple players in the mix for the block, but Humber a little discombobulated, and that will give the Knights another point. And the serve coming up from Sahil Bardawaj.
Crowder just kind of getting the chicken wing up on that one. Maybe a little nod to Rezart Sadiku, who's in attendance here today.
Saw Rezart, the former Humber men's volleyball great.
Was an All-Canadian as well.
Wow, Blackmore set up, and Tevin with a nice shot and giving Humber another 2-point lead.
The Ottawa native showing the power behind his kill there. Only in his second year, perhaps a future preview of what we can see in the years to come.
And that time the Knights are celebrating, the Hawks are arguing, and Coach Wilkins
we'll get another look.
And the players are united. I'm not exactly sure.
No, that was in.
Tyler Hartwick's serve handled by Tevin Blackmore. Set up for Michael McAlpine, who just hits it way long that time. And a miscue, something we don't see too often from number 17.
No, absolutely not. And this one ties it at 8. And much like that first set, looks like the second one's going to be a dogfight as well.
You said it. It's a lot like two rival news organizations fighting in San Diego.
What's that reference to?
Anchorman.
Oh, wow, I should have had that. I'm upset with myself now. Thanks, Matt. You ruined my day.
I don't think it was a very good reference by me, so I take full blame. Here we are back in action. Segui pops it up. Gomes, quick setup to Kelsey. You know, last time the Hawks had a home game, we saw a lot of that play right there. Quick set from Gomes to Kelsey. And they go to it often for a reason.
I mean, that connection there, probably one of the hardest to defend in all the OCAA. Gomes, arguably the best setup man in the league, and then Kelsey, one of the tallest players. How are you going to block that?
Gomes sends it long. Not the type of serving day we're used to seeing from Oakville's Jake Gomes.
Just sailed out there.
This never would have happened if he would have went to my high school, Holy Trinity. I'm just kidding. Yeah, me and Gomes share a hometown. Blackmore's blast is off the fingertips and hit long, so that's another point for Humber.
Humber taking a 2-point lead. Gonna try and continue this momentum swing. Try and force Fleming to use that first timeout of the set.
Blackmore's serves have looked very good today, as have Jaden Milnes. Jaskar and Kelsey is using that volley to find an open space in the Knights' backcourt.
Yeah, you don't see that play too often in the league at all, but Kelsey using that, probably gonna take, you know, these players a little bit off guard. We'll get another look at that one. Just that little flip, find that little hole there, just kind of catching those Fleming players off guard. Got their signals crossed. That one just catching the line. Another point.
What a blast there. The service ace from Tevin Blackmore. And a run for Humber Hawks is going to be put on pause momentarily as the Knights call a timeout, Andrew, as momentum really building for Humber here. As you mentioned, it was a dogfight, kind of like Ron Burgundy and Channel 5, I forget the other news organizations.
The Vince Vaughn
exactly.
Folks there, yeah.
Mantooth.
Yeah.
Dorothy Mantooth.
What a name. But this one finally looking like Humber is grabbing that momentum here, although we've seen these timeouts have been used very effectively. I mean, whoever's come out of that, using the timeouts usually got off to a good start coming out of it. So Humber's not going to want to calm things down just yet. They're going to want to keep that front foot on, kind of keep that aggressiveness going. Let's see, they're already halfway there to the second set wins, but they ain't over yet. Fleming's still lurking.
Yeah, 13-9 will be our score coming out of this timeout. The Knights are ready to go. Humber's still in their huddle. And we'll get a look at them as long as the Fleming fan does not hold that sign up.
It's down for now, but for how long? You got to rest those arms a little bit, you know?
It's got to be tough holding it up all game. Now, I'd love to see the cheering section for the Knights out in full force. Got to respect a team whose fan base travels well, and the Knights certainly have.
All the way from Peterborough, about a 2-hour drive.
Long weekend as well, so maybe some folks spending a little extra time in the GTA.
That's a good point.
Family day on Monday.
Looking forward to a day off.
Aren't we all? Michael McAlpine. Nice blocking effort there. In the mix was Scott Morris. Blackmore able to put his body in the way. This rally's still going. And how about that block? Two of the big fellas, Jaskar and Kelsey, and right on his side is Michael McAlpine.
Kelsey going right up to head coach Wayne Wilkins, giving him the high five after. And right to the service line.
There's the celebration. You see Marcus Morgan and Jaden Benjamin celebrating. And
what happened there? We'll get another look. There's the last play before, excuse me.
On the baseline, but Kelsey with a quick service ace. Humber now up 15-10.
Gomes, great job to keep that one alive.
That looks like it skipped off the ground, so that will go to the Knights. 15-11 our score now.
Yeah, close call there, but that one just out of the reach of Blackmore. Kelsey will take a rest.
Serving now for Fleming's Calvin DeCote. Max Crowder, another quick setup there. We've seen that a few times from Gomes to Kelsey. That time, Gomes to Crowder. So a nice 5-point lead for Humber. Things certainly going their way as this second set has played on. It was neck and neck, a real dogfight like you described it, Andrew, but Humber now establishing a lead. Michael McAlpine with a chance to increase that lead.
Another good server.
Gomes to Milne. Fabulous work. Jaden Milne's serves were a huge difference maker in set number 1, but his play up front of the net, nothing to sneeze at either.
Yeah, 5 digs, and now that makes 8 kills on the game for him today. Absolutely incredible performance he's putting on today.
There's a shot from Milne.
Wow.
Somehow the Knights able to rally and get it over. Ultimately, Humber will be victorious in this point, but wow, that was a heads-up play for the Knights to keep it alive, and that will call us to another timeout as the Knights don't like the direction this second set is heading.
Yeah, good time to call timeout there. You're 7 points away from your opponent, they're 7 points away from winning, so you got to double them up. Not an easy task, but what other choice do you have than to call that last timeout?
So on the season, Humber's been so good offensively. Their hitting percentage is .317. That's first in the province of Ontario. Humber's service game also has been very effective. They are second in the Ontario for service aces. Also a few service errors as well. They're right up there in terms of the amount of service errors they've had. So,
well, I mean, you're gonna get some in when you kind of go for that
high risk, high reward.
Exactly. But I mean, you look at so many players on this team. They're either above .3 service aces percent or kind of like just hovering around there. It's absolutely incredible when you can just have that kind of consistency from that service line. And I mean, starting you're on the front foot, I mean, that's where you want to be, right? It's all up to a good start. It's like winning a face-off in hockey.
Now, when we take a look at Fleming, as far as statistical categories, their total attacks of 1,800 are second in the province. They lead the province of Ontario in solo blocks, and we've seen some pretty good play up front, at times shutting down this Humber front line. But at the end of the day, we've seen guys like Michael McAlpine get loose, Max Crowder, Jaskar and Kelsey. There's just so many players you have to worry about on the side of Humber, and that's been causing problems for this visiting team, and a big reason the Hawks are in a good position here in set number 2. That play at the net, unable to return it are the Knights, so Humber with another point out of the timeout. Andrew, you like to see that if you're Humber out of the timeout. Here's another look at the play, securing that first point.
Yeah, just a miscue on that one. Just couldn't get enough air under that. Hit it right into the net.
Well done by Humber, not just to keep it alive, but to get a pretty good hit off it. Max Crowder with his 6th kill of the day.
Ben Perot was the player in the nearest vicinity of that ball. Got a foot on it, couldn't quite keep it up though. Humber just a few points away from taking set number 2.
Big block there, Crowder and Gomes. Number 3 and number 13 for Humber, really standing tall.
I mean, since, you know, kind of that early mark, it was 9-9 early in this set. Since then, it's really been all Humber. Going on a 12-2 run.
Teed up there by the Knights, good block. Gomes and Crowder in the area. And another point for Humber, and Michael McAlpine's been serving for what feels like forever. He's on quite a run here as Humber have now doubled up the Knights. 22-11 is our score. Gabriel Mendez now into the game for Humber. This is a player who's right up there in terms of leading the province in hitting percentage. He sits number 3 in Ontario in hitting percentage. Max Crowder with another good point up front.
From Brazil, which I learned recently is actually a volleyball hotbed.
Yeah, Brazil, of course, Gabe Mendez's home country. Gabriel Mendez waiting for his first opportunity to get involved here. Keep an eye on number 12. Just out of reach, so finally Michael McAlpine's run of serves is put to an end. But ultimately, Humber is within striking distance of putting the second set away. And it's a long road to go if the Knights have a chance at coming back here in set 2.
That one just getting away. Fleming just finding ways to extend this set any way possible, though their backs are against the wall.
You know, last game, Andrew, we talked about somebody who was from Brooklyn High School. We thought that sounded kind of cool. Nazir Francis on Humber's men's team. He went to Neil McNeil High School. Neil McNeil. How about that serve? The Knights are not going down without a fight. That was an absolute howitzer off the hands of Dion Pearson Laviolette.
Couple players going to Neil McNeil High School. Alex Segui and Nazir Francis.
Neil McNeil, the volleyball hotbed. So that service error will put Humber within 1 point. As we'll have one final serve. Delay of game warning charge to the Humber Hawks. A little confusion on the bench.
Yeah.
Gabriel Mendez, opportunity to put this set away. He's been excellent for Humber in their first year. We talked about just how efficient the offense is, and this guy really the embodiment of that offensive efficiency. And people are just giggling and laughing. I don't know if we're ever going to get this last serve in here.
I'm still laughing about Neil McNeil.
Yeah, let's circle back to Neil McNeil.
It's like the old goalie for the Boston Bruins, Pete Peters.
David McDavid.
David McDavid.
Connor McDavid's father. And Mendez serve in play. Knights unable to return it. Maximum Crowder with the maximum dosage of wow on that block.
I like it.
Wish I could take it back. Really excellent play by Crowder to finish off that set. Humber now up 2-0. Humber feeling the vibes here in their home court crossover game, and they are 1 set away from capturing the match and getting me to my sushi reservation on top.
That's the most important thing. No, but seriously, the way things are going for Humber now, obvious improvement from that first set. Things were kind of a little bit slow to start there, and obviously it was still a back and forth start to that second set, but they found their way out of it quicker. They won by 4 more points than they did the last set. I think Wade Wilkins has got to be pretty happy with his team's performance here so far.
Agreed. You know, Coach Wayne in his 27th year with Humber, he's right in the middle of that huddle there. You got to think he's telling his team to just keep it up. They were able to get an even better result in set number 2, but you know, in both set 1 and set 2, it's been really at times very, very close. But give credit to Humber for being able to close out the set. And that's an issue a lot of teams have, whether it's volleyball, basketball, being able to get it done in crunch time. And that's been really the strength of Humber today and the reason they're up 2-0.
Yeah, and sometimes just kind of like waiting around for your opportunities, you know, just kind of hanging in there. And then knowing when to strike is the biggest thing. Knowing when you can get those momentum runs going. And then once you get that run going, it's just not letting that foot off the gas pedal. No mercy, as Cobra Kai would say.
I like that. And you got to think that's exactly the message right now for Humber. Just put the foot on the gas pedal and close this out, because, hey, if you give Fleming that confidence, they certainly have every reason to really establish themselves and put up a fight here. But as it stands right now, Humber in a good position, but they're going to have to be careful here, even up 2-0, because this Fleming team has really shown that, hey, they've got what it takes to compete with Humber in this gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, it's during that first game, it's not too often where you see the team come down from 2-0, but still possible. I believe I've seen it only once here in my Humber career. So obviously Humber can't let their foot off the gas pedal. You got to finish in 3 sets. That's got to be the mantra from Coach Wilkins to his team.
almost ready to break the timeout here. The intermission between sets. Humber looking like they're ready to go. We have Segui out there as the libero. Jake Gomes, Jaden Milne. And Mendez doing some push-ups on the sideline. Andrew, I think I caught you doing some push-ups in between sets as well, no?
Oh yeah, I got the chest and tries going, you know?
That's right. Got our photographer Diego wandering around. You got to look best for those photos, right? So you can understand the push-up motivation. All right, it is time to get going here. Set number 3. The serve will be in the hands of the Knights, Steven Catamuro. McAlpine's blast into the net. So number 17, not quite dialed in like we've seen earlier in the game. Catamuro, another serve coming up here. Jake Gomes over to Kelsey. Very good looking shot. Finding the inside. The Knights were initially not liking the call, but it now will be a point for Fleming. 2-0 for the Knights here in set number 3. And a service error. So Jake Gomes has been not quite himself serving here today. Let's see if he can establish what he does best. Big shot and another point for the Knights. So Fleming just continuing to cruise along here in set 3. They're up 3-1.
That one went off the hands of Milne. We'll get another look. That powerful shot there. See, off the hands of Milne. Kelsey tried to get a foot up, tried to keep that one up. Couldn't quite do it.
Sent way long, and a couple of Humber points in this set. In fact, the only points for Humber coming off service errors. So see if the Hawks can wake up a little bit here. Offense has been a little bit stagnant. You don't want to give Fleming a window of opportunity to establish themselves in this game, because right now Humber is certainly in the driver's seat. Goodness gracious, that serve from Tatum Blackmore was an absolute rocket.
Yeah, Blackmore continuing to put on a show here this afternoon. 6 digs, 4 kills, a few service aces as well. Here goes again.
Almost looking to tie things up. Well, things are tied up here, but give that lead right back to the visiting teams. It's been a very strong start here for Fleming in set 3.
That will send Scott Morris to the service line.
Gomes tees it up for Michael McAlpine. Let's see if the Hawks can get number 17 involved here.
Oh.
And you saw Jaden Milne get in the way. Kelsey's on the hardwood right now. Kind of ran into the backside of his teammate. And the big 6'10" player for Humber is back on his feet and will attempt to stay in here. It's unclear if Kelsey's going to be able to remain in the game. Yes, he will. Good news. Number 10 feeling good.
Didn't hit his head, thankfully, so looks like he'll be ready to stay in.
But the lead still in the favor of the opposing team. Let's see if Fleming can continue their early set ways here. And Kelsey's off the hardwood, and he's back on the score sheet. The big fellow with a nice looking kill there.
Yeah, obviously in good shape right now. We'll get another look at that replay. Again, all 6'10". Wow. His frame on that one. Great job to get the kill.
And now Kelsey just served it, put it in play. Into the net. beating the block of Humber. Let's give that point to Fleming.
Fleming managing to find ways to stay in the lead of this one, up by 2.
So the all-time series between these two teams is split. These teams have played 2 times, and it's gone either way. So who is going to give themselves the edge in the historical matchup? Humber certainly sitting pretty, but tell you what, if set 3's any indication, we're not quite done yet.
No, absolutely not. This game not over by any stretch.
And that's what we've seen work for Humber. Gomes to Crowder. And Max Crowder with now 9 kills here today.
Another look. Gomes saying that went up perfectly for Maximum Crowder. And once again, using all that big frame to get some power behind that one. It was so tough for the other team to stop.
Gomes tees up Jaden Milne, who gets the blast up, handled by the Knights. And the block up front, we just saw him get the point. This time it's the block from Max Crowder. Unreal stuff from Maximum Crowder.
Humber so close to punching that ticket to the provincial quarterfinals. They'll play the winner of Niagara Algonquin February 23rd at Fanshawe College in London.
Point for the Hawks there, so we're all tied up at 7. You know, last set, Andrew, we saw Michael McAlpine go on a pretty heroic run of serves. Seemed like he was there for the entire set almost. Let's see if he can maybe rekindle some of that magic here and sway the balance back towards his team.
Would definitely be welcomed by his teammates and the faithful here.
Yeah, I mean, Michael's been such an asset up front, especially earlier in the game. Set 1, really, most of those points up front were courtesy of Michael McAlpine, but his serving has been a big difference maker as well. Such a great addition, this rookie.
Just catches that sideline there, wow.
You know, on the season, he was 3rd on the team in service aces, so he's really one of their most dangerous threats from the service line, in addition to everything he can do up front.
He's got that long frame, plus he's got that good front spin we talked about before. Kind of gets that ball to dip right at the end, makes it hard to defend. Wow! Crowder really getting up and throwing it down there for the kill.
Ooh-wee, that was just a beautiful setup there, and how about that connection? We've said it a few times, Gomes to Crowder. That was nasty.
Incredible. Back to Michael McAlpine.
And after all those theatrics, it's a service error, but Michael McAlpine leaving the team in a good position after his run of serves. It's a 2-point lead for the Hawks.
Maybe not the run as long as the team would have wanted, but a little run nonetheless. Put your team back on top in the 3rd set.
Of course, we just had that service ace in there for McAlpine as well. Service error for Fleming will give the ball right back to Humber. And how about this guy, Jaden Milne, who's been pretty good with his serves here today.
Gets almost, well, 40% of the time, I should say, he gets a service ace per set, so it's pretty good from back there.
Teed up. Humber sends it over to McAlpine, who can't really get in position, so he just has to lob it over. Free ball for Humber now. What are they going to set up? Jaden Milne absolutely stepping into that one and beating the block.
Wade Wilkins loving that one, giving the fist pump and a yeah to his team after that.
And timeout called as Humber is really starting to settle in here in set 3. It was all Knights early on in set 3, but now familiar pattern here. These sets are really tight early on. In fact, you could even sway the balance of power to the visiting team, but as things have gone along, we've seen this pattern time and time again. Now here's Humber about midway through the set with a nice 4-point lead.
Yeah, and we've seen throughout this match here this afternoon that the power of these timeouts have kind of been losing their luster a little bit as things go on for Fleming. Humber just so locked in right now. they can keep this up just for a few more points, I mean, they'll be home free and right ahead to London for provincials. And of course, the next time we would see them after that is for the national quarterfinals. Of course, their opponents still to be determined for that one.
Now, coming out of this timeout, will Humber cool off? Or tell you what, Andrew, I like their chances. Serving right now for Humber is Jaden Milne, and you know, he's the second best server on the team when you look at service ace statistics. He's got 24 service aces in the regular season, second only to Jake Gomes on the team. Jake Gomes with an unbelievable 43 aces this year.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from back here, and we'll see his run continue. We've seen him go on a little bit of a stretch here earlier today, so let's see if he can put on another show for us right now.
Or does the timeout from Fleming kind of slow his roll a bit? Doesn't look like it there, but handled nicely by the Knights. And the big block up front between Crowder and Gomes. And Humber not able to get under it, so somehow able to keep the rally alive. But a comedy of errors up front at the net. Gomes sets up McAlpine. Feels like Fleming on their heels a little bit, and point for Humber.
Another fantastic rally here this afternoon. Another look at that rally that I just spoke of. Humber doing everything they can just to try and keep that one alive. A little bit of a prayer there by Milne. It works out, though, in their favor. Humber earns the point.
Another serve from Milne in play, and what a block that time from Crowder and Gomes. Pearson Laviolette sails it just out of bounds, and Humber's gotta like how things have been out of that timeout. They are now up by 6. So Jaden is the one with the nice protracted run of serves here. But I put the kibosh on, and as I said that, he gets the error into the net.
Nothing gold can stay.
Tyler Hartwick with the ball. Crowder's shot handled by the Knights. A few hits from Humber to contend with here. Segui, just a flailing effort, lands out of bounds.
And that'll start with McAlpine just kind of diving, getting just enough to keep that one up. Unfortunately, it didn't work the way the Hawks would have liked. Fleming earning the point. Within 4 now, so this set still not completely determined yet.
Yeah, 14-10 is our score right now.
Long way to go.
And out of bounds, so the momentum certainly picking up after that timeout. Shifting towards the visiting team. And Tyler Hartwick says, I've seen a couple Humber Hawks have a impactful run of serves. I think I'm ready to dial up one of my own. And seeing that right now. Blackmore shoots it out of bounds.
If Fleming gets a few more points here, we'll get another look at that missed shot. Gomes setting that one up and just goes out of bounds for Blackmore. Humber's got to tighten it up.
McAlpine is blocked, and the momentum just continues to build here.
1 or 2 more points, and I imagine Wayne Wilkins uses his first time out of the set.
Almost tied
Another
up.
look. Segui would have resulted in a double touch if he touched that again.
Taven Blackmore, nothing seems to be going right for the Hawks right now.
There it is.
Timeout called. Good prediction, Andrew. Humber is going to have to try to flip the script here.
Got to do something to get back in the driver's seat here. I mean, yeah, that nice little run leading to a pretty big point differential between the two sides, but all that for naught now, and teams even at 14-14. Either one 11 points away from taking this set. Each team has 1 timeout left to go. Couldn't get any more even than that, as we got to look at that big Knights sign over there.
And our camera operator doing their best to shoot through it. That's like really, oh, I see we're facing the, that's like real thick, you know, Bristol board. You can't really shoot through that. Go Knights, it says.
Yeah.
Love that, and respect to all of our Fleming fans that came out to see this East versus West matchup, and it's been a good one. And these Knights fans have had a lot to cheer about, and no more than what they've had here in set number 3 as we're all knotted up at 14. Andrew, this has been the point in previous sets where Humber's been able to pull away. Not really feeling that right now, but maybe that's what the Hawks can drum up out of this timeout.
Yeah, Fleming already equaling their points from the last set out, so obviously they're going to try and finish here on a high. Want to put their best foot forward. What could be their last set of the season.
And that's what the Hawks would like to see. Jake Gomes with the very sure-handed point out of the timeout. Giving the lead back to Humber. 15-14 is where we're at. And Crowder's serve is long. They'll give it right back.
Now this is the point where you're kind of chewing your fingernails if you're either of these sides here. Perhaps a little weary about using that last timeout.
Blackmore's shot finding an open space. So Humber starting to maybe warm up a bit offensively. Let's take another look.
Yeah, great return off that serve. Gomes, once again, the setup man, saying that one up perfectly for Blackmore.
And Gomes, can he find and establish his service game? That was a good-looking one that time. Over the net, just barely. Free ball for Fleming. Segui over to Gomes, setting up Michael McAlpine, and there's the bread and butter once again for Humber. 2-point lead here in set 3.
When you feel things slipping away, just get back to basics. Another look. McAlpine, again, all sorts of power on that one, leaping up to get that.
McAlpine leading the Hawks this year in kills, 122. Right behind him, though, Jaden Milne with 121 kills. So those are the two guys in a different dynamic, right? First-year player Michael McAlpine, lots of height. Jaden Milne, not quite that tall. He's the 5th-year guy, but both really such skilled players. But very interesting to see the young fella, the rookie, leading the team in kills.
Yeah, not often you see that on an OCAA squad where a first-year player is really leading the way in such an important stat as kills. But here we are, Michael McAlpine doing it. You got to think, since it's only his first year, what's his room for growth going to look like? What's he going to look like in year 2, year 3? You know, he's going to be an exciting player to keep an eye on. But I mean, just for tonight, gotta love the performance that he's been putting on from, you know, that front line and from the service line, doing a lot for this team.
So our timeout is almost going to expire, but Andrew, the Hawks have had a pretty good run here. But you like the timeout call from the Knights because it really seemed like that offensive play for the Hawks was really starting to ramp up, starting to find their rhythm. Let's see if they still have that rhythm.
Yeah, you're only down by 3, so you might think it's a little early for that timeout. But, I mean, if you think the other team's really feeling it, really going on that run, then it's not a bad time to take that timeout at all.
Yeah,
try and keep things close.
Yeah, great point. You don't want to wait until it's too late. Gomes electing for a softer, less powerful serve that time. Sets up McAlpine. And the rookie's going to not quite hit that one the way he wanted to. And the first point out of the timeout goes to the Knights.
Yeah, soft touch on that one. Couldn't quite find his target there as that one sails wide.
And the serve from Pearson Laviolette, handled by Blackmore. Free ball for Fleming. Big block that time. And out of reach as the Hawks reestablish that 3-point lead, courtesy of Kevin Blackmore.
The big play there is that one near the bench. There's a player down.
Yeah, that was
Pearson Laviolette.
Dion Pearson Laviolette. He's got 2 kills today and coming up a little bit gingerly after that diving play. You gotta love the heart shown by Dion. Unfortunately, he's coming up a little bit limping after that one, but we'll keep an eye on number 8. He's staying in the game.
And he's their best attacker too, so that'd be a big loss for Fleming. If either they had to take him out or if he just isn't 100%. Wow, what a serve there.
Jump serve, and that is the highest serve deflection has gone into the stands I've seen all year. That was, I think, row 9 or 10 that ball ricocheted into. Almost hit that fan holding the sign and knocked it out of his hand nearly.
Pretty sure I heard a few wows, so the WPMs have gone up.
Yeah, that jump, the vertical leap of Blackmore is really something. Certainly got the wow factor there. And Jaden Milne taking care of business up front at the net.
And now Humber securely in the driver's seat here, 4 points away from winning this set, and they got a 5-point lead. You got like that.
Now that was a couple good serves from Milne or Blackmore, but that time just too long. But Humber in a good position here. 21-17 is our score. Humber just 4 points away from capturing this game. The match will be over. 4-point lead over their opponent.
Huge uphill battle here for Fleming, not only in this set, but just even if they win this one in the game as well. That one looked like it might have been going out.
Yeah, Kelsey was able to run back into the play here. As we had a double touch, so a rare miscue from the Hawks. Such a disciplined team.
Hawks still up by 3, though. Fleming feeling it themselves a little bit here on a little bit of a run. Trying to close this gap.
Gomes over to Kelsey, beating the block. Now to Milne, who's blocked, and we talked about this Fleming team is really statistically right up there in the province with their blocking stats, and it's been on display here tonight. And it's, if there's ever a team you want your blockers to be feeling themselves, playing their best, it's a team like Humber with so many offensive weapons up front.
Yeah, and this Fleming team, not the tallest team by any stretch, just one player over the height of 6'3", so they're just doing it, you know, with playing as a team. You know, I imagine that's down to coaching as well, with Jordan Ross in his second year. Another mistake there for Morris.
You know, Humber, a very tall team. You got all kinds of 6'8" guys sprinkled on that roster. Of course, the tallest is number 10, Jaskarn Kelsey at number 10. He's also the one serving right now on the baseline.
Yeah, as they say, you can't teach 6'10".
Beating the block that time, Crowder and Mendez unable to take care of business.
And just when we thought that Humber might have this one, Fleming's starting to crawl back in. Only 5 points away from taking the set themselves.
That's a big point right here. Can the Knights draw within 1, or can Humber make their lead up to 3? And that's what will happen. The latter, much to the chagrin of the Fleming fan base.
Another look at that one. That one looked like it was in the reach of Deschenes. Just let that one go. Him and Pearson Laviolette kind of getting their signals crossed. And look who's back on the service line.
The sensational rookie, Michael McAlpine, with the serve. And how about that blast? That was out of reach, and just Sahil Bardawaj, unbelievable. Now he's going to be serving Bardawaj, and wow, huge play to keep his team alive.
Yeah, close set here, but like I said before, not much room for error for the Knights. They have to be basically perfect.
If you're just tuning in, Humber is up 2-0, and they're about to be 3-0 and capture this game in 3 straight sets if they can get one more point here. Gabriel Mendez, the Brazilian, serving for the Hawks.
Hawks just need to win one of the next 3 points.
The blocking from Crowder and Gomes, sensational. Third time, almost a charm, but Mendez able to keep it in play.
Neither one of these teams wanting to back down.
Gonna have to just get it over. Free ball for the Hawks. Segui to Gomes, over to Blackmore, and put this one in the win column for the Humber Hawks. And the crossover matchup between the Fleming Knights and Humber Hawks goes to the home team. Here's that last point. Kevin Blackmore just lining it up and laying into it.
Just an unbelievable game all around for these Humber Hawks. Look up at the scoreboard. I mean, Michael McAlpine, 4 digs, 7 kills. Maximum Crowder, we didn't say his name a ton, but 11 kills on the day for him. You gotta love that. You know, Blackmore doing it all up and down, 9 digs, 6 kills. Milne had to run from the service line. McAlpine had to run from the service line. Jake Gomes doing his usual thing, setting up everybody. I mean, things gotta look pretty good for this team heading into the postseason, or the provincial championships, I should say, at the OCAAs.
So now it's just a matter of, will this Humber team be playing the Niagara Knights or Algonquin Wolves at the quarterfinal next week? Player of the game goes to Maximum Crowder, as there's your final score. 3-0 for the Humber Hawks, and looks like I will be making my sushi reservation on time after all, Andrew. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have minded seeing this game going on a bit longer, because we had really such a good effort from both teams. And, you know, we saw this thing be so close. Ultimately, it was the Hawks able to pull away as each set went on. We kind of saw a similar pattern, but no set was closer than that third set. And that is reflected in the score there, 21-15.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at this and say, like, oh, Humber won 3-0. It was easy. It was anything but for this Hawks squad. Fleming came in, 500 team. They showed why they were competitive in this one. And, you know, some of these crossover games, we're used to seeing such mismatches and, you know, such like lopsided affairs, but not today. Fleming putting forward a great matchup here today, their best foot forward. But Humber coming up on top. You got like where they're headed into the postseason.
So we have the date with the OCAA championship for the Humber Hawks. Again, that will be starting on the 22nd. That's coming up here. We don't even have to talk about dates. That's Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be that final deciding gold medal game, of which the Humber Hawks aspire to be in. And then, hey, it'll be a pretty short drive for Humber for the national tournament, hosted right here at the Hawks Nest.
March 8th through 11th.
Got some stiff competition here in the province of Ontario. Of course, Fanshawe, who are hosting the provincial tournament, they're ranked number 2 in the nation. Volleyball powerhouse, Fanshawe Falcons. Here's a look at some of these celebrations. Michael McAlpine gets some hugs in. The rookie, number 17, has been so good.
Next we got another crossover game with the women's basketball team. Looking forward to that one. Then, of course, next time we see these men is going to be March 8th, the quarterfinal of the Nationals. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Me and Matt will be there for that one. It's going to be a great time.
And we will, in a moment, check in with our sideline reporter, Genesis Caliste, who is going to give us a little summary. But as we saw, 3 straight sets win. Let's throw it over to Genesis and get a little debrief. Looks like her microphone has not been turned on. Well, sorry about that, Genesis. We'll get your mic fired up for next time. But thank you for watching here on the Hawks Sports Network. The Humber Hawks heading to the OCAA playoffs. Thanks for watching.